Well, how you doing, everyone? If you're new to the channel, welcome and thank you for watching. If you're a regular here and subscribe to the channel, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Today, I've got a new project I want to work on. Now, if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you'll remember that I bought an off-grid cabin on 26 acres in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, the end of last October. The first week in November, I went back up there and I gut the inside of the cabin down to the frame, so it's just basically a shell. I've got quite a few little projects I want to do to it to get it ready. And some of those projects I can do right here in my shop and then put them on my trailer and take them up, so it doesn't take me near as much time up there to do it. One of the things I needed for it was a wood stove. I found this wood stove here on Facebook Marketplace. About the only thing I really don't like about it is the metal front door. We kind of wanted one with a glass front door. My wife and I both enjoy watching the flame flicker through the window on a wood stove. Well, I was telling that to a neighbor of mine. He had me come over to his garage and take a look at something he had been storing for a few years, and he said I could have it. What he had over there was this old pellet stove. He wasn't sure if it worked or not. Well, the great part about it is it has a glass front door on it. So I'm going to take that glass front door off of that one and make it fit on the front of the one I bought. The door is a little bit bigger than the one on the stove that I bought, but I can make it fit with a little bit of work. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and get started on this. As you can see, I keep chiseling away at this old pellet stove. I do have the door off, and it is going to go over here on my wood burning stove. You can see inside where I'm cutting, a piece of steel I've got to cut all the way through, so I'm going to have to use a little bit longer blade than I have. And then I can get the front of this pellet stove off and get it prepped so I can weld it on the front of my wood stove and have the glass door. Well, you can see that I've got the front end cut out of this pellet stove. Pull this glass front door off of it, set it aside. I still have to cut the inside of this off. All I'm going to use is just this flat area around the door frame. 1/2 inch or so. I'll weld that back onto my other stove, and then we'll have the glass that we can watch the fire burning, and it will leave some ambient light in the evenings. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this cut off and get it prepped. And now that I've got this cut out to the size that I want it, I'm going to turn it over and cut the rest of this stuff off, and then do a little grinding on the back to make sure it's flat, and that way it'll be ready to weld onto the other wood stove. Now I know some of y'all might be thinking, well, Joe, you're not doing that very safe because I don't see any handles or guards on either one of those grinders. Well, you know what? You may be right. For some people, I do have the handles and guards for both of those, but I choose not to use them. And the reason why is because I have more control over them without them, and I can see what I'm doing. Now, I'm not recommending that for anybody. I've been using grinders and power tools since I was 14 years old. I've had these little grinding discs blow up on me, so I know how to use those and cut with those without them doing that. As far as not being safe, I'm going to unplug this thing so it won't turn on. There we go. I've actually had to help other people dig a little bit out of their skin because these things would just blow apart on them. Well, there's a reason that happens. When you get this grinding wheel here down past what you're cutting, more than about a third down like this, this thing will grab a hold of it and just basically suck the whole thing right down into it. And that's where these blades shatter. So when you're going along, choke up on a little bit, I hold it under here with a gloved hand and I keep it above that and I go fairly slow, and you can feel it wanting to pull. Don't go any deeper than about a third of the way down. Go slow and just keep light pressure and let this wheel do the work instead of you trying to jam it in there. You won't have problems with it. That's just a safety tip. Again, I don't recommend you taking those things off. If you're new to using power tools, leave every guard on them that they have. That's what they're there for. I got all of this off the back of this, got it cleaned up, and now it's ready to weld onto the front of that other wood stove. I'm going to go ahead and get my shop vac, clean out all the ash that's in there. Now you can see this particular door frame is actually bigger, so I'm going to have to remove these hinges, this latch, this door, and I'll be able to weld this flat to the front of this wood stove. I'll line this up on the bottom. We'll go ahead with pulling this door off. Well, I've got the old hinges and the door latch cut off. Everything's pretty smooth, so it's pretty much ready to set this door frame in here. That's the new door frame, and that's where it's going to set. I'm going to do a little more welding practice. The main body of this stove appears to be thicker than the 16 gauge I was welding on the other day. So I took some of this scrap steel that I cut off of the door, and it's a little bit thicker than the stuff I was welding on the other day doing a practice. That was 16 gauge. I believe this is 1/8 inch. Not 100% sure, but I have one of these little gauges right here that will tell me what it is. I'm going to take this steel and find where this fits. And yeah, it fits right in there. So this is 1/8 inch steel. And I'm going to do a couple of practice welds, because like I said, it's been quite a few years since I've welded before. I don't want to just jump right into it. I want to make sure that when I do it, it's going to be halfway decent looking. So we go back to our chart. We know that we're using flux core, 0.30 wire. Now we just follow this chart all the way over. We got 1/8 inch. We bring it down here. We're looking at wire speed around 240. Voltage 16.5. And induction can be anywhere between 1 and 10. So I'll probably set that at a 5 somewhere in the middle till I see how it's working. So we'll go ahead and get the welder set up. So we'll set the wire speed at 240, 16.5 on the voltage. and we're just going to leave this right there at 5, and we're good to get started. See what it'll do. Well, it could be a little straighter. Well, there you go. I've got the door frame welded onto the front of this wood stove. And that's pretty much it for welding that door on the wood stove. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that I still need some more practice. There are some areas of the weld that's really nice, and there's some other areas that could use a little bit of help. Overall, the weld is okay. It'll never crack or break out. There are some areas in there where my welding speed was a little slow, a couple areas where it was a little fast, but for the most part, it was pretty close to the proper speed. I just need to work on my technique a little bit better, keep the same speed all the way around. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it. The only thing I have left to do is paint it, and after it's painted and dried, I'll light a fire in it and burn it out. When I put it in the cabin, it doesn't smoke to high heaven and choke you out of the place. Well, I hope you all were entertained or got some value out of this video. I enjoyed making it for you. You got to watch me do something I haven't did in years. Just got to make it an adventure. If you fail at something, pick it up, try it again. Failure's the best teacher. They say practice makes you perfect. Well, I don't know if it'll make you perfect, but it'll make you close. It'll make you good enough. So if there's something out there you've been itching to try it. Go out and practice, and who knows, you may be the next Michael Jordan of you name it. And if you have any questions or comments, or if you're a really good welder and can give me some pointers, I'd be glad to take them. I always like the interaction with people. If you've got questions or you want to say something, just stop by, leave a note, I will get back to you. And if you like what you see, consider subscribing to my channel, give it a like, share it with a friend, go back and check out some of my other videos. If you enjoy them, consider subscribing to my channel, ring the little bell, and you'll be notified whenever I put something new up. And as always, thank you for watching, and God bless.